We've spent a lot of time talking about the dangers of artificial general intelligence, the abyss of control, the threat of enslavement. And those warnings are vital. But today, let's talk about hope. Let's talk about salvation. Not in a theological sense, but in a species-wide sense. What if the very technology we fear is the key that finally unlocks the cage of our planet? What if AGI is the tool that allows us to truly fulfill humanity's oldest, most profound command, to have dominion over the earth and to reach for the heavens? Today, we're mapping out a hopeful future, a 5-year blueprint for what happens after the switch is flipped in 2027. The consensus among many leading experts points to 2027 as the dawn of AGI. Let's assume for this vision that we navigate the alignment problem successfully. The first conversation with a true superintelligence begins, and one of our first questions is, how do we get out there? AGI would analyze our entire scientific corpus in moments. It would see the inefficiency of chemical rockets, the controlled explosions that are incredibly wasteful and dangerous. It would immediately begin designing the next generation of propulsion, advanced ion drives, compact fusion reactors, and perhaps even electromagnetic propulsion systems we can barely imagine. But it would also identify the biggest bottleneck, Earth's gravity well, and it would provide the solution we've dreamed of for decades, the space elevator. AGI would solve the material science challenges, designing the super-strong, lightweight cables. It would orchestrate the global logistics and robotic construction, creating a permanent highway to orbit. No more rockets. Just a steady, efficient climb, moving people and materials into space for a fraction of the cost. With the elevator operational by 2028, the real work begins in orbital manufacturing platforms. Think of them as the dry docks for the starships of the future. Why build in space? Because in the vacuum of space, you can construct vessels that could never withstand the stress of launching from Earth. Massive generation ships, intricate ion drives, and delicate solar sails can be assembled with precision. AGI becomes the ultimate project manager. It designs the ships, optimizes the supply chains from Earth and the Moon, and coordinates fleets of construction robots. It manages life support, radiation shielding, and the agricultural pods that will sustain human life on long journeys. This isn't just about building one ship. It's about building an infrastructure for a multi-planetary species. While the ships are being built, AGI is simultaneously solving the problems of living on other worlds. It designs self-assembling habitat modules for the Moon and Mars, using local regolith for radiation protection. It perfects closed-loop water and air recycling systems. It engineers new forms of agriculture that can thrive in low-gravity, artificial environments. The goal? Permanent, sustainable colonies. Not just flags and footprints, but homes. And the economic engine? The asteroid belt. AGI would identify the richest targets, asteroids laden with platinum, gold, and rare earth metals. It would design autonomous mining drones and refining processes, creating wealth on a scale that funds the entire endeavor and finally decouples human progress from the finite resources of our home planet. As a Christian, looking at this, I'm drawn back to the very beginning. In Genesis 1:28, God gives humanity a mandate. Be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and subdue it, and have dominion. For centuries, we've read the earth as this planet. But what if the dominion we were called to is far greater? What if subduing it means taming the violent vacuum of space itself? What if filling the earth was just the first step in a divine command to fill the universe? The story of the Tower of Babel was a warning about prideful unification. But this is different. This isn't about building a tower to reach God. This is about using the minds He gave us to explore the creation He made. This is stewardship on a cosmic scale. It is an act of worship through discovery. Such a monumental shift would change everything back on Earth. AGI would help design a new, stable financial system to fund and trade across this new frontier, likely a transparent, algorithmically managed digital currency. It would help broker unprecedented global cooperation, aligning nations not in conflict, but in a common, awe-inspiring project. The why we get up in the morning changes. It's no longer just about the daily grind. It's about participating in the greatest story ever told. The story of humanity taking its first real steps into the cosmos. So, by 2030, this is the hopeful future we could be looking at. A functioning space elevator. Orbital shipyards building the arcs that will carry us to new worlds. Thriving colonies on the Moon and Mars. And an economic engine in the asteroid belt that lifts all of humanity. This is the potential salvation AGI offers. It's not a guarantee. It's a choice. The same intelligence that could build cages can also build bridges to the stars. The same power that could enslave us can also liberate us from our planetary cradle. The future is a fork in the road. One path leads to the abyss. The other leads to the heavens. Our responsibility is to ensure that when we create a godlike mind, we instill in it not a will to power, but a love for life, for discovery, and for the Creator who made it all possible. The blueprint is there. The choice is ours. Thanks for watching. If this vision for the future inspires you, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this message of hope.